Good morning, everybody. It is now 11 o'clock, so I'm going to get started on this. So the idea is today and tomorrow, I'm going to do 2 sessions on virtual open houses. Excuse me. And I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let me back it up. The reason I wanted to do this again, because Constantine and I did talk about virtual open houses way back when this started, when he and I were both still in the office and we were doing the sales meeting via Facebook Live. We talked about virtual open houses and some ideas around using Facebook Lives to do your virtual open houses. And we shared out some content that C21 Canada had provided in terms of, best practices around doing Facebook Lives. And they even have a video on how to create a landing page on your C21 website. And so that you can get people to sign in, that kind of stuff, which we thought was a great idea. But re-looking at it and seeing what a couple of other agents are doing out there, I re-examined this and I've come up with a way that I think might work a little bit better for you versus the traditional version. Not that I'm suggesting you shouldn't be doing Facebook Lives, but if you're not comfortable with it, then I got a bit of a process here that I'm going to go through today and tomorrow to show you how to do something a little bit different and hopefully enable you to still do some prospecting out there while we're dealing with physical distancing. So this is, it's going to be a bit of a process. So strap in and get ready. I'm going to mute everybody now and then start sharing my screen. So give me a second. Okay. Okay. So virtual open houses. So there's what we're going to do basically over the next 2 days is a 3-step process. The first 2 I'm going to walk you through today. Okay. So we're going to look at how to build a form to collect leads, effectively a landing page that people can come to and fill in their information, who they are, their phone number, email address, similarly to how you would on an open house sign-in sheet or registration form. We're going to talk about creating a video creation account with Loom.com. It's a really simple thing to do, but there is a process involved in signing up for it. I'm going to walk you through that. And then tomorrow, actually, we're going to build a video to share online. So the tools we're going to be using, all this stuff is free, except for some things. If you've got listings and you haven't paid for an iGuide before, then there'll be some additional cost if you wanted to use that. You don't have to, but might be some additional cost there. If you're using someone else's listing, they've already got this stuff set up, then it's already there. So most of the stuff is not going to cost you a cent. It's just going to be a bit of a learning curve. So you'll have to, work with me here and figure this stuff out. But we're going to use Loom.com, Google Forms, MLS, Google Maps, and YouTube. And I'll show you what YouTube is about here coming up. Not necessarily asking you to go and create videos, but you might want to think about it. So what we're going to do next, we're going to sign up for a Loom account. And then we're going to walk through the process of creating that Google form, that landing page to collect leads. Okay. So let me just move on here. So first thing I'm going to need you to do is go to Loom.com. Excuse me. Loom.com is, like I said, that's a free website. You go here, and this is the landing page that you'll start out with. I already have an account, so I can click sign in, but you need to click get Loom for free right here or here. Okay. What it does is it allows you to screen record. You can capture your screen. Your picture will appear down here in the left-hand corner, and you can choose various sizes for that image to be down there. But then the rest of the screen is just recording whatever anybody sees, exactly like I'm doing now with Zoom. It's just another way to do it. What I like about it is you create the video. It's got a little bit of space for you to put some text in at the bottom, and then you can share that out wherever you need to or want to. Okay. So if I click get Loom for free, this is super easy for you guys, okay? When I click the button, you can use your Google account to sign in. When your Century 21 account is a Google account, okay? So all you got to do is click right here where it says sign up with Google. This box pops up and it'll ask me, because I have multiple accounts on mine. Yours might just say, did you mean this account? So I've already signed up with my C21 account. There's my personal Gmail account. If I click that, and then it goes through this process. Your privacy matters. You have to agree to the terms of their end user license agreement. Okay, click I agree. And then it's going to ask a few more questions. What will you use Loom for? So I'm going to say, I'm going to use this for at work. I click continue. Who do you want to share videos with? I checked my team, but you guys can check all of these if you want and then fill in a blank. You know, you could say the public, right? So whoever you want to use it for, you choose. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. They're just trying to gather some data on who's using their systems. So click continue. Put your company name in here, right? If you don't want to put that in there, that's fine, but it doesn't hurt. And what best describes what you do? So we're in sales, right? I think we can only pick one. So we're in sales. We click continue. How many people work at your company? Between 50 and 250. Install a recorder. So then it asks you to install the Chrome extension or the desktop app. If you're using Chrome, I've already done this. So it appears up here in the corner. You see this little icon here that says Loom for Chrome. So just click install extension. It will take you to the Google Chrome store, right to that extension, and click add to Chrome. Okay. Once you've done that, then you're ready to go. You can at any time hit this little button here and start doing a screen recording. Okay. So that's it. Once you've selected one of those, and in fact, you don't have to do either. You can click continue. And this is it. Now I'm in my personal account. I've got my C21 account. This is my personal account. And from here, it's super easy to create videos. But for today, that's all I really wanted you to do was make sure that you've got an account so that when we start our session tomorrow, this is ready to go, okay? Any questions on creating the Loom account before I move on? No? Okay. So I'm gonna hit X to close that out. I don't care about that right now. Where was I gonna? I was gonna go to Google Forms now. So here's the process as I see it. You're creating a video that you're going to share out onto your social media, okay? And that video is going to be you doing a walkthrough of the house, but you're going to be sitting in your chair at home. You're going to be using the MLS system to show pictures. You're going to be using iGuide to show the virtual tour, or Matterport if somebody's got that on their listing. And not many people are using it, but if it's there, great. So you're going to be doing a walkthrough and recording a video. But in my opinion, once you've got that video out there and you've put it out there, most people are hesitant to put their name and phone number into the comments on Facebook, right? So what I'm suggesting is you create a landing page that you talk about in the video and encourage people to go to fill in the form and provide their information so that you can contact them later, right? Just like we would do at an open house, right? At an open house, we would greet people at the door. We'd say to them, hey, come on in, great to see you. There's feature sheets in the kitchen. Feel free to record your visit. Take a feature sheet and walk around, and I'll be here if you have any questions. In this case, since we can't do that, we're going to do this video. We're going to walk them through the house, but we're going to talk about it occasionally. We're going to remind them, hey, there's a link below. From time to time in the video, you're going to actually say to them, hey, there's a link below. Click that link and record your visit, and that way I can reach out to you and give you more information about this house. And oh, by the way, there's another video there for you, and we'll talk about that after too when we're building the form. So that's kind of the process. These aren't limited to doing them on the weekend. You don't have to wait till Saturday or Sunday to do this. You could do one of these every single day if you really wanted to. It's just a matter of finding the inventory that has enough content around it to make it interesting and valuable to the viewer, right? So just as, you know, if I don't have a listing right now, I'm going to go to Lynn and say, Lynn, I know you got that new listing. Is there any chance I could do a virtual open house on that? And if she's okay with that, then I would go through this process, create this landing page that we're going to talk about right now. I would use my Loom account to do that virtual walkthrough and talk about the house and encourage people to sign the open house form, just as if I was doing a real open house. Okay. So any questions on that so far? We're all on the same page? Okay.
Yeah, Doug, should you be using a video camera instead of your phone?
It's better if you use your desktop, your laptop computer or your desktop. Using your phone is not going to be nearly as useful. And the Loom account, I'm not sure if Loom has an app for your phone at all. So I wouldn't be using a phone. Sit in front of a computer and do this. You will come off much more professionally if you're sitting talking about this. If you're using a phone and it's all wobbly, or even if you're using a tripod or something, it's great for one-off videos if you're going to be posting on a regular basis. But for this particular process, you're best to be sitting in front of the computer. It's really what it's designed for. Okay.
Right, but when you're doing a virtual tour, you've got to use something as a camera. You can't walk around with your
Trust me,
laptop.
you're not going to actually walk around. This version of the open house, what we've talked about in the past in terms of doing like a Facebook Live or that walkthrough of the house, yes, you're live, you've got your camera and your phone in front of you, and you're walking around doing your tour, right? In this instance, we're not doing that. I would wager a week's salary that 80% of you don't want to do that. Would I be wrong? 80% of people don't want to go and do a live broadcast because there's a lot of fear associated with that, and that's nothing wrong with that. That's normal. Most people don't like the idea of going and being live on camera. Okay, so I get that comment. Correct. So what I'm suggesting you do is record it in advance. And if you don't like what you said, you can delete it and do another one. Okay, so that's what I'm suggesting why we do it this way. Okay, so instead of doing an actual live open house, this is going to be pre-recorded that you put online at a specific time, giving you the opportunity to generate some interest and direct some traffic to that video. Okay, so there's a process to this. You've got to find the open house, the house that you want to do it on. You have to build the Google form that we're going to talk about next, right? So it's that landing page so you can actually collect leads. Then you need to actually record the video on your desktop talking about the listing as if you were doing a virtual walkthrough, but you're actually going to be sitting at your desk and do this. And then you're going to promote that video and do a watch party or a premiere. You can do premieres on YouTube. You can do premieres on Facebook, where notices go out to people saying, hey, Doug's starting a watch party at 2:00 on Thursday afternoon. Excuse me. So you can promote it in advance, right? To try to generate some buzz. People go and watch it at that time, and then the recording, it's not you live, that recording is then prompting them to go to that landing page that you created so that you can capture some leads. Does that make sense? Okay. So Google Forms. Google Forms are a little bit tricky, but they're not too bad. So you're going to go to your Century 21 Gmail account. You're going to click the waffle right here. Okay. And then we're going to scroll down a little bit until we find Google Forms. And it's that purple icon right here. Okay. So I'm going to click that. I can hear somebody. If you don't mind muting yourselves. Okay, so I'm going to show you first a form that I created, and then I'm going to walk you through the process of recreating that form for yourself, okay? So let's take a look at this. I did this, and it's an old listing. It's not on the market, so nobody should get upset about it. It's just an old one, and I'm not publishing this anywhere. It's just for training purposes. So Aaron Marcinkowski had a listing on White Birch Road down in Millbrook a year or two ago. Ended up having an offer on it, but it never came together. I maybe even had a couple of offers on it. I'm not sure. But what I did with that listing was create this Google form. And the beauty of Google Forms is it's not just, questions and answers, give me your name, email, and phone number. I can insert video into this because Google owns YouTube, right? So everything is connected. It all works together. So I inserted a video. I've got the overview from the MLS system here, and then my form below. So if I wanted to show you I want to see what this looks like as a public-facing Google form, I can hit the preview button. And this is what it looks like. If I was a member of the public landing on this form, it's a landing page. I don't know if you guys have heard the term squeeze page or landing page before, but that's basically what this is. So it says here, please feel free to watch the video and complete the form below if you'd like further information on this or any other property. Then scroll down and there's the video. And you probably won't hear the audio on this, but the video actually plays inside the form. So people can take a look at the place. And this is pre-recorded. This is a video that Aaron did on his own listing a while ago. And he got pretty good at doing these. And he's actually volunteered to come on another time and talk to you guys about how he does this. But it's just a walkthrough. He's using Filmora Go that I talked about in previous videos to add music and do a bit of editing on the fly in these videos. But I think it's important that this is here in the form, in the landing page, so that people are getting something extra, right? So you're going to be recording your walkthrough. You're going to be talking about the house and what it's like to live there, all that kind of stuff. Oh, and from time to time, you're going to say, hey, visit the form below for additional information on the property and to complete the open house registration or to record your visit. And then they land here and there's an extra video, some extra content for them, right? And if I scroll down, oh, look, there's an overview. And I took this right from the MLS, right? If I go to Matrix, there's the overview. I just copied and pasted, right? That's all I did there. Okay, oh, the live page. And below that, there's the form. Once they've watched the video and read the overview, they can complete the form, right, and fill in their information, and then click submit. And after they click submit, thanks, I'll be in touch soon, that response comes up automatically. So I think that's pretty simple for the public to interact with. Now I want to show you how to create that. Okay, sound good? All right, I'm going to close that. And this was the form that I created. So I'm going to go back to Google Forms.
Doug, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure, Jack.
When they fill out that form and submit it, does it send an email to you, or is it collected on a master form?
Both. So shortly, I should get an email here in my account from Google Forms, and it's not here yet, but it will arrive. But also inside my Google Forms, if I go back to that particular form, I'll show you what it looks like. So here's the back end of that form. I was showing you a minute ago, the public side. This is the back end where I can make changes to it, but you'll see at the top here, it says responses. When I click responses, one response, Doug Lytle, right there. So if there's more than one, they just show up in kind of in sequence. And if I want, I can click right here, create a spreadsheet. So after the form's been up for a couple of hours, after my video, I can come in here, click responses, then click Google Sheet, and create a spreadsheet. It creates a Google Sheet out of those responses, and then I've got a nice ordered list of names, phone numbers, and email addresses for those people. Okay, hope that helps.
Thank you.
Sorry, turned my phone on silent, and it thought I was speaking to it because I said Google. All right, back to the form creation. Let's create a new form from scratch, just so I can walk you through this process. And if you didn't want to do the video and the overview, you can do a basic, simple form that's just, thanks for visiting, name, phone number, email address. Like, you can keep it as super basic as you want, okay? So you land on Google Forms. Like I said, you go to your Google account. There's that Google Forms email right there. Your form 713 has new responses, okay? You use your Google account, go to Google Forms, and then you're going to click right here where it says blank, then a plus sign. And you land on this blank untitled form. There's nothing in here. So all we've got to do now is just sort of build it out. So if I wanted to keep this really, really basic, or it says untitled form, I went put in here, 123 Main Street, open house record, for instance, okay? And then and where it says form description, I can click there and actually put a description. I can say, thanks for visiting. Please complete the form for more information. Helps if I can spell on this or any other. Why would I do that? I'm going to ask if they want to know about other properties too. This is lead generation. We're trying to prospect here, right? So it's not just for this particular property. Although if they want this one, great, let me sell it. But if they want something else, I want to let them know right now that I can also do that for them, okay? Okay, and now we're going to start building out the form. So we've got the title. Now I'm going to go to the questions. So this Google Forms is really, really smart. If I start typing the kind of question that I want, it guesses what kind of response I want. So right now it's set to, multiple options, multiple choice for the answers here, but watch what happens when I put down here, full name. It switches automatically to short answer. It knows I'm just looking for some text, right? So now I've got a question for their name, and I'm gonna, right here, you see where it says required? I'm gonna click this little button. They have to give me their name. If I leave that blank, if I leave that turned off, they could submit the form without actually giving me their name. Now, making it required doesn't mean they're not gonna say Mickey Mouse. That's okay, but we want to try to capture as much information as we can without being too greedy about it, okay? So far I've got a title and one field. I need to capture some more information. So on the right-hand side, you'll see here these extra buttons. Plus sign says add question. So I click add question, and there it drops in. So what's the next thing I need? I want their email address. And again, it knew I was just looking for text, and it says short answer. Okay, you will see when you're asking for an email, right here it says suggestion, enable email collection setting. What that does if you turn it on is it removes the question asking for their email address. And on the public facing form, it will actually say, by completing this form, your email address will be collected. I think it's a little too big brother. Most people will balk at it and they won't complete the form. But if you let them voluntarily give you that information, you'll get it more often. So that's what I think. And when I say voluntarily, I'm still going to say required, but I'm not having the system scoop that information. People get nervous about about computers scraping their data. So I suggest don't use that. Okay. So I've got phone number, or excuse me, full name, email. I need to ask for their phone number. Okay. So right here, I'm going to put down phone number. And this is the one, again, it's selected automatically. I'm not going to make this one required. Okay. I'm going to leave that alone because I don't necessarily need their phone number immediately. I do need their email. I got to have some way to communicate with them. It's up to you though. If you wanted to make this required, I'm not dead set against it. Just click the little required button and then on the finished form. And by the way, at any time I can preview this form by clicking this little eyeball here. There's the finished form right now, okay? And you'll see required shows up in red. So it's got a little asterisk, 1, 2, 3. They're all required. This form won't submit if those are not filled in, okay? I'm going to close that and go back. I'm going to turn off this required right here, okay? So we've got our basic form almost done here. We got to make a couple of little tweaks to this, okay? Under responses, you need to go to the 3 dots right here and then click get email notification for a response for new responses. To Jack's question before, if I don't turn this on, I won't necessarily know that people have responded to the form. And unless I've got a calendar reminder telling me to go and check, I might forget, right? I'm a little scattered, I might forget. So I'm going to click that, and then you'll see this email notifications enabled. And that will prompt me. Every time somebody fills out the form, I'll get an email notification and to prompt me to go check, okay? So there's that. And then I also need to go here to settings, this little gear right here. I need to go to settings. And under the general tab that pops up automatically, right here it says restrict to users in Century 21 Canada and its trusted organizations. You need to uncheck that. If you don't uncheck that, the form won't appear to anyone outside of Century 21. Why that's turned on, I have no idea, but I need you to uncheck that, okay? Excuse me. So that one, and then I need you to go to presentation, and right here it says confirmation message. Your response has been recorded. I like to say, thanks for visiting. I'll be in touch soon. That way they know you're going to be back to them, right? I'll be in touch soon. Crikey. Okay, and right here it says show link to submit another response. Uncheck that because you don't want people filling out the same form multiple times, right? You want just one form from that person. Doesn't mean they can't come back, but it's going to turn off a link that will prompt them to submit another response. And then click save. Okay, so that form is now complete. If I wanted to stop right there, this will work. This will do exactly what I want it to do. Okay. Excuse me, but I'm suggesting you should make this a little bit better. Okay, you need to add a little bit more pizzazz to this thing. So try to find either a listing of yours that you have created an actual walkthrough video like Mike was talking about a minute ago, or someone else that's actually got one. So again, I'm going to use Aaron's old listing here as an example. I went to YouTube. Honest, I did. There it is. And found his video. He recorded it a couple of years ago and he's posted it on YouTube. I'm going to actually grab the URL for this video right there. So I highlight it and then I can right click and say copy, or I can use Control C on my keyboard, Command C if you're using a Mac. Go back here and I'm going to click right here where it says add video. See that? If I click add video, then it prompts me to search for a video. I've already got the URL, so I'm just going to paste it in here. Click the search button. Okay, it goes into YouTube and searches and finds that particular video. I have to select it still. I've got to click it once so that it's highlighted in blue, and then click select. And then it drops that video in here, okay? Now, it's tiny. I can resize it. All I did was click on it once, and the handles show up in the corners, and I'm just gonna drag it and make it bigger. So I got a nice big video that's gonna appear on there. And the other beautiful thing I can do here is, right here, if I click these 3 little, oh, not that one, this 3 little dots here. Click that and then center align. I'm really just making it look pretty is all I'm doing now, okay? So that's what it's going to look like on the screen. If I want to, again, I can preview this at any time, hit the eyeball. Here's my landing page now. Come on, video. There it is. So I'm doing my video walkthrough. I'm talking about the listing. I'm showing the virtual tour, like the iGuide stuff, and having a monologue about the property, and reminding people to go to the landing page to record the information. And by the way, when you get there, there's going to be another video for you. Here's the other video. They land on, this is the public facing form. They land here, they can watch the video or not, it's up to them. And then below that is the form, okay? So again, I could stop right there, but I'm gonna make this a little bit better. I'm gonna go down here below the form, and I'm gonna click add. Wait, that's not what I wanted. If I don't want this one, guess what I can do? I can trash it. I wanted this one right here. See where it says add title and description? If I click that, it drops in basically a text box. So overview, right? I'm going to call it the overview of the property, and then the description, I have matrix open so that I can grab the overview. So I'm just highlighting the text, copy. Again, get permission from the listing agent to do this if it's not your listing, and drop the text in there. So all I did was highlight it, copy and paste it into my form. And now when I preview the form, the landing page, it's got information about why they're there. It's got the video. It's got a nice overview about the property, and then it captures their information, okay? So this form is basically done. You can do some more if you want. There's a color palette here to customize the theme. If you wanted to do that, you can go in here and add some theme colors to this theme if you want. Lots of fun things you can do with it. All it does is change the colors up here. You can add imagery to the background for a background image if you want. I would suggest don't get too fancy with this. The simpler the better. You don't have to do this at all. And then I'm going to close that. One further thing I'm going to suggest you do, go to the gear. Where the heck was it? Under presentation? No. There was. I'll have to find it. There's a way to shorten the URL, okay? When I'm looking at that form, so that people don't have to go to this really long URL here. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because when we're using Loom, and I'm going to show you how to do that video tomorrow. Maybe we can get started on it today if there's time. When you're creating that video on Loom, you can actually insert a link below the video, and you can prompt people, just click the link below to go to the form or to see the video, whatever you want to say to them. So that is that for today. Did you guys have any questions?
Yeah, so now that you've created that, and you don't want to use it right away, I guess silly question, but I guess once you click out of forms, it'll stay there.
It stays there. Yeah, let me go back. I just remembered where that link shortener was.
Okay.
Cameron. Here, it's right under here. That's why I didn't do it. It's right under here, under send. If I go to link and shorten, see how much shorter that is? I can copy that. And if I wanted to send it to one person, I can email it to one person if I want to. Send via email, right? Link or embed. I can embed this form in a website if I wanted to, but that's way too deep in the weeds. I could post it on Facebook or Twitter, pretty straightforward. But if I just want to drop it into an email and tell them to go to this link, there it is. There's the form. Okay, so it behaves as if it was a website. My original thought process on this for you guys was to actually go and create another web page and create the form and have the form embedded in the page. And I thought that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's too many extra steps. The form is enough. The form behaves as a landing page. So why would we bother creating another web page for it? Keep it simple. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Monica. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions for this today? I think that's a lot for you guys to go practice, go build a form, make sure you sign up for the Loom account, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you how to set up your desktop so that you can actually do the tour and have it make sense to your viewers, how to create the video, excuse me, and then share that video out onto Facebook. Okay? No other questions for today? Dean, go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Okay. My biggest concern over all this, yeah, I've been doing virtual tours. I was one of the first ones to start working with Doug Logan. That's one thing. Doing this and what's going on out there in the world, and not everybody hears the whole story, is where does that leave us legality wise? Like, obviously, I'm not doing one on a vacant house. All you're doing is inviting something to happen.
So
I mean,
I think this
legally
eliminates
as
that.
agents,
Yeah.
where does that leave us?
So I think what this does is eliminate that problem because you're not going into the house. We're going to be sitting at our desk at our home office and doing this video and showing people the house so nobody has to go there. The point of this is we're eliminating most of that risk. We're not taking people into the home. We're not going into the home. We're using tools that are already available. So Doug Logan's done a video for him, for instance, and Doug Logan's done the iGuide. That's already online. So tomorrow when we do the video, we're sitting at our desk. We're not going into the home. The idea further is if people actually watch the video and take a look at the guided tour, they will either eliminate it from their search because it doesn't fit their requirements, so they don't have to go in the house, or two, they'll say, by far, this is the best we've ever seen. This is the only one we want to go see. How do we go look at it safely? Right? And then it's up to you to take them in there and put all the protocols in place to make sure that everybody stays safe when they do that, as safe as possible. Sorry, Dean, I got to unmute you. Dean, unmute. It's not unmuting. Hang on. Hold down your space bar, Dean. Well, that's unfortunate. Hang on 1 second. It's not working. I can't unmute you, Dean. Can you type in the chat? Can't hear you. I'm sorry. Oh, there you are.
Okay, because I unmuted myself.
Okay, good.
So the good thing about this, the way I see it, with the virtual tours, we're already giving way too much information for people getting into people's houses and everything else with that. But is there a need? Because it weeds out a lot of people that haven't got their financing, haven't got this and that, and are not even in a position to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why these deals are falling apart, because people think that, oh, well, you know, that guy's a great cosigner because he's got lots of money. Well, if he doesn't have an income, he's not. Equity does not buy that, for instance, you know. So my biggest concern is what's going to happen with vandalism, what's going to happen with all this other things, because the video tour gives a little more. People see too much in people's places as it is, and I'm sure as hell not going to show a vacant one.
Okay, so I don't think that has changed at all versus what we did 6 months ago when we were doing physical open houses. People are still coming in unqualified and looking at the house because they just saw the open house sign and they're wandering in the front door. So I think the same thing applies here. It's still your job, all of us, to go and to qualify our buyers. Before we actually write an offer, we got to make sure that they've got the money to do it and make sure that they can actually complete the transaction. Otherwise, we've dropped the ball. But this is simply the open house process. So I agree 100%. Deals can fall apart and do fall apart on financing because people weren't properly qualified. So you have to continue to do that. But I don't think that this raises the risk of vandalism or anything else beyond what we were doing before. This is just another way of sharing that information. And again, we're not sharing anything that's not already publicly available. The iGuide tour is already online, right? The video from YouTube is already online. All we're doing is packaging it so that it's, you know, if Jack had a listing and Dean wanted to do an open house on that, Dean's doing the virtual open house on Jack's listing. So all you're doing is sharing the information and video and photos that are already publicly available on realtor.ca, iGuide, YouTube, all those places that it's already out there. So I don't think you're adding anything to the mix in terms of risk. If the property doesn't have those things and the listing agent and the seller didn't want to have those videos produced, then you can't do it. But we're not really adding anything new to the mix here, Dean. I think it's just a repackaging of existing information to try to generate more leads for more people.
Personally, I find people are reaching out more to the agent now, and we have the opportunity to talk to them about their situation. And me, myself, I'm very thorough with that because I don't want to waste their time or mine, and I want everybody to be safe. And so I guess it's all wrapped in a, I don't know how to say it here. It's, there's going to be a lot of stuff come down the tube, in my feeling, with, you know, everything that's going on. We're all trying to work together. We're all trying to do our best, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
God
my
knows how
suggestion is,
anal I am about being legal and
yeah, totally. Just keep
covered
doing what you're
I've
doing,
helped
Dean.
everybody. I cover everybody's, you know,
Keep
and
doing
I
it.
would
You're
want to
doing a
be.
great
Hey,
job with
Doug.
that stuff, and I appreciate you asking those questions because it really does reiterate that, and it reinforces that we are doing the right thing here. Because, you know, if we
Yeah.
didn't ask those questions, we wouldn't
Yeah.
know, are we doing the right thing? But I think we really are. We're not putting anything new into the world. We're just repackaging what's already there. So thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Good questions. Jack?
I agree, Doug. Isn't this just another way to capture more leads with an open house log?
100%. 100%. And that's really why I wanted to bring this up. It's, you know, you can do the, you know, show the virtual tour, or you can do the Facebook Live open house, but people are hesitant to share their information. So all I'm really trying to do here is give you a new and creative way to package the information and provide a way for people to provide their information so that you're not wasting your efforts. It's nothing worse than spending
Exactly.
time on
Yeah.
something and not getting any leads or any return out of it. So hopefully this is a way for you to start to get people to give you their information. And Dean's right. More people are reaching out to us directly, and that's fantastic. But let's extend it. Let's get more, right?
Thank
Maybe,
you.
Safely and securely, though.
maybe it might be a good idea to, maybe, and this might come up in the Q&A this week, but it might be a good idea to just kind of maybe put a list together, and I'm sure Dean can help with this, of questions that we can better qualify people for. You know, you don't want to come across as being nasty or saying, like, you got to remember, I took a listing on the weekend. I'm supposed to be trying my best for my seller to get their house sold.
Mhm.
So when somebody phones you up on a MLS, you know, realtor.ca call, and they say, yeah, well, I'd like to see that house, and obviously you won't be doing any open houses, and I'll be like, you're correct. I'm not. And then you have to go through a list of qualifying them because they still want to see it. And I said, well, I've got all the floor plans online. There's 50 pictures, you know, like, and they're still like, yeah, so can I see it? And I'm like, well, are you in a position to purchase? Well, yes.
Mhm.
Are you pre-approved? You go through all this stuff,
Mhm.
but I don't know if it's enough. I felt like I was trying to get to all that to the people. I'm like, so what you're telling me is, if you walked into this house, you'd be prepared to put an offer in if you loved this house today? And they're like, well, yeah. Well, of course, you know, they get there and you're all masked up and you're sanitized and you spent all your time doing all this crap. And then they're like, oh yeah, we really like it. We really like it. And I'm like, okay, so you're prepared to put an offer in? Well, we don't really quite have our ducks lined up. And
So
it's just like,
yeah, I
You
totally
run
hear
into
what you're
that
saying. But
anyway.
what's
that kind of
that?
stuff, that's kind of stuff has always happened. But I'm going to put this back. You know, somebody asked me over the weekend about showing properties and this exact same concern, and asked the question, should I be having them sign a buyer representation agreement? And I said, did you watch the video, excuse me, that Lynn did with me a couple of weeks ago on the buyer consultation process and qualifying and getting people signed up to a buyer rep agreement first? And they said, well, I only saw part of it. And I said, well, go back and watch it because Lynn's process is nearly flawless. So I think you do what you've always done, Lynn. You know,
But I
insist.
don't, but in that case, first of all, I don't know if I can't meet the people, and I don't know that I want to work with them.
So do just like we're doing now. Do a Zoom meeting with them. Meet them virtually and have the same kind of conversation. That's my suggestion. You do what you think is best, but that's my suggestion. We
Well,
have the tech
if you
to
could have
try to meet
seen
with
what I
them.
went through for 48 hours, there was no time for a Zoom meeting. I can tell you that. It was just
Fair enough.
insane. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be over there checking in between showings to make sure everything's closed up and cleaned up. And, you know, and it was a vacant house. I can't even imagine if it had people living in there. You know, there was 8 showings. I'm trying to be in there and clean, make sure everything's sanitized, you know, trying to take the phone calls, trying to do the COVIDs that weren't coming in correctly. And it was unbelievable.
Okay.
So I just don't know, you know, to me, the only reason I would do one of these, and I certainly wouldn't be looking for people to fill in forms, but I would be doing one of these maybe videos simply to ask somebody to maybe, or no, an opportunity for me to more highlight some features that you maybe don't necessarily see on the video. Like maybe you can point out that they've got the, you know, the sweep thing for the shop back, or maybe you can point out they got the crown molding. Maybe you can point out the man doors in and out, like just stuff like that. But
Mhm.
as far as, I don't think it's still going to eliminate the fact that somebody would really want to buy a house by seeing it. I know I wouldn't buy a house by a virtual tour.
Oh, totally.
So
Totally.
this is going to be, I just need to know how to come across more forceful, I think, as far as saying, look, unless you're in a position to put a cash offer in right now, go away.
So, and you know what, you're right. I'm not going to say you're wrong at all. I think doing these virtual tours, these virtual open houses, is a way for people to eliminate houses from the list. If I was a buyer and I saw 4 or 5 different properties online via video and or virtual open house, like we're suggesting, that kind of video, I'm going to say, well, those 3 just don't work. They don't meet my requirements. So I'm not going to bother going to look at those houses. The other 2, I still need to go and see them. Right? If I'm the buyer, I still need to go and smell that house. I need to stand in the front yard and look around and see what the neighbors' places look like from the perspective of that house. So there's still a need to go and physically see a place. But it still behooves us to do, you know, the great job that you do, Lynn, in qualifying buyers and going through that process to make sure that for real. And I know Dean does all of you guys do a great job of qualifying your buyers and making sure they're for real before you spend the time and the risk of going looking at a house, writing an offer, negotiating it back and forth, trying to get conditions met, only to find out that they weren't qualified.
Yeah.
So you still have to do all that stuff.
The problem is, I think you're missing the point about, you know, trying to represent your seller to get as many people interested so you get them the highest and best price,
Mhm.
but trying to do all that in the timely fashion that we were normally doing it before.
Mhm.
You know, where you could say, well, look sorry, what am I supposed to say? I'm sorry, you can't see that house. Like it's just.
Yeah. So
it's
why
really,
not do this? If you
really,
know it's
really
going to be
awkward.
a super hot property, why not hold offers for a couple of days? I know we all hate it, but if it's going
We
to be a hot
talked,
property,
yeah, I talked about that, but a lot of people that I talked to, fellow realtors and stuff, were saying, oh, not in that price point. It was more kind of the stuff that was underneath that price point.
yeah,
So,
you
you
can
know,
adjust on the fly, right? If you're 48 hours
yeah,
into it and it's going nuts, you can have a conversation with your seller and say, this is too hot. We need to slow this down so that you get the maximum value.
yeah,
Here's a scenario we can walk through, and then tell them
yeah.
about holding offers.
Hindsight's 2020 for
I
sure.
know. But if it's going to be a real hot property, hold offers, and then you could do the virtual open house like we're talking about to eliminate most of the buyers. The few that are left, you could say, okay, physical showings are going to happen between 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock at
Mm-hmm,
one showing per hour interval. So there's time to clean
mm-hmm.
before and after every single
I did
showing.
do that. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So to try to get as many people in there safely as we can into the home, but do it after you've done something like this to eliminate the tire kickers. That's all I'm suggesting. That's the whole point of doing this. Eliminate some tire kickers, get some names and numbers, and then you can reach out to people and try to either, if they don't want that house, sell them something else. The world is going to open up again. The economy is going to open up again. Business is going to open up again.
I
We
know.
got to do it safely and carefully, the best we can, right? You guys have to put food on the table. I'm not stupid,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is how we do it. This is one of the things I'm suggesting might be a good thing for you guys to do. If you don't want to, no problem.
No, I like the idea. I like the idea of doing the tour for adding a little extra information.
Mhm.
I think what Dean's point is, are we trying to encourage that bunch of people jump about and start looking at houses? And I think that's where we all get a little bit nervous about trying to come off as being, hey, yeah, no, it's business as usual, people.
No, not at all.
But I think maybe a disclosure right on the thing. This is, I don't know. I think this is also
If that makes you more
Nice
comfortable
going,
to
Mark.
put that disclosure on there, by all means do so. And part of the discussion around the video that we'll talk about tomorrow and creating that video will be trying to reassure people that the reason we're doing this way is because we can't safely have 15 people show up to the house. I'd
Mhm.
much rather keep you safe at home and preview this house. And if it looks like something you're really interested, hit the link below. There's a form there you can fill out so that you and I can connect.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're trying to create that distance to make it safe.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
not by any means saying business as normal, go back to showing houses like crazy. I want you to eliminate as many tire kickers as possible. At the same time, start to build your business back up, because in a month or 2 or 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, sometime in the next little while, we are going to go back to work, right? And
Yeah.
you guys need to be prepared for that. If you don't have a pipeline of business coming, it'll be another 90 days after that
Right,
before you get moving.
right,
And we have to be realistic. We're never going to go back to business as usual.
right. Yeah, and hopefully we can just create some better procedures because, you know, it's just, there's just so much more to think about.
Yeah. And we're all learning this at the same time. So
Yeah,
hopefully we, get some ideas from each other and share this stuff. Okay.
yeah.
Great discussion
Thank
though.
you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions on the form that we talked about today? So tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we'll go through how to actually create the video. We'll use Loom. I'll show you how to do the setup on your screen and how to actually do that video and have that discussion when you're doing the video about how to keep everybody safe. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.